Okay. Okay. Um, is Olivia here still? Alright. Well, I'm going to continue the trial.
Incidents took place.
That simple fact slipped past all of us. We made the wrong assumption about the order of events, all because of those justice hammers.
That's exactly why the culprit wrote the numbers on each hammer and had them increase in size. That way, when we saw how they were used in each incident, we'd easily make that wrong assumption.
Now, if Taka was killed around 6, then everyone's alibis for his murder go out the window. Because when he was killed, we hadn't met up in the dining hall yet.
Hello. So the thing stopped, but I started a new one. So, like... No, yeah, but, like, all you've missed since Sus went down is us being like, okay, so Taka died first, and order of hammers is irrelevant. Yeah. Oh yeah, and I have literally everyone but you and Prevail muted. Because when he was killed, we hadn't yet meted up in the dining hall.
That may be true in the case of Taka's murder. But all of our alibis still hold true for Hifumi's death.
That's right. With him, at least, we're all safe.
Yeah, like, we're at the trial. Huh? What was that? That came from downstairs. It must have been... Hifumi, he's in the nurse's office. This is bad. Come on, we have to go back.
When we heard Hifumi screaming, we were all together. Except for Hiro and Kyoko. Then we all ran down to the nurse's office, and that's where we found his body.
That's totally true. We're all in the clear.
Oh, I know! They must have recorded him screaming on a tape or something, then played it later on!
If that's true, where's the tape?
I don't know.
Don't just go making stuff up.
Anyway, we all have rock-solid alibis for when we heard Hifumi scream. Since all of us were there together, clearly none of us could have killed him.
What? Yeah, Darkiplier and Hifumi were both killed.
And it does not stop there. There was also the moment when we discovered his body had disappeared. When his body vanished from the nurse's office, Hina and I were in the bathroom together, while everyone else was in the equipment room, correct? And then there's the disappearance of Taka's body from the equipment room. At that time, we were all gathered together in the nurse's office because of Hifumi going missing.
Well, don't forget, I was passed out in the equipment room the whole time.
Wait, then what if Genocide Jill did it? She could have dragged Taka's body out of there right then!
Even if she could pull that off, there's no way she could have done the same with Hifumi's body. Because, as we just established, she was passed out in the equipment room when his body disappeared.
Besides, I didn't do either of them anyway.
In other words, it is impossible that any of us could have killed Hifumi or moved either of their bodies. On the other hand, Hiro and Kyoko had disappeared, so they most certainly could have done those things.
I don't think it was Kyoko or Hiro, though.
So what now, Kyoko?
For now, we can't get fixated on who did it, or we'll just keep going around in circles.
Fixated?
So instead of who, I propose we start talking about how. In particular, I think we need to figure out how Hifumi's body got moved.
Well, we know that his glasses got cleaned off. When, if he was dead, no one could have been sussy. And we also know that the like little cloth, like the glasses cleaning cloth that was used, has blood on it, and it was also an anime one, so I'm just saying it was Hifumi's. It was in the trash can of the nurse's office.
That's true. We searched everywhere.
He died
couldn't
fully
figure out
in the
how to explain his
repository,
body disappearing.
but we found his dead body the first time before it disappeared in the nurse's office.
disappearing.
We searched everywhere, but we couldn't figure
And
out.
according to what Celeste said,
We could have not been gone for more than a minute or two, though. So then the killer was able to get in and move Hifumi's body in that short of time? It would seem so.
his body apparently disappeared in the 1 minute her and Hina took their eyes off of it. But to carry that much weight from the first floor up to the third in that short amount of time?
Oh man, yeah! There's no way! It'd be impossible!
Well, what if I told you there was a way to make the impossible possible?
What? How?
If the dead body were to move itself.
The dead body moved on its own?
Hifumi's a zombie confirmed.
No! Not another... ghost!
I don't think it has anything to do with the occult. I think what she's implying is we thought Hifumi was dead, but perhaps in reality he was still alive.
He was alive?
Are you saying Hifumi wasn't carried out of the nurse's office, but simply walked out on his own?
I mean, we have the reason to believe so, the glasses thing.
We found his body. He was dead.
But also remember the fact that the other, like, the actual dead body was found at the
Perhaps
same
he
time,
was
and maybe it was
simply
just the same
playing
chime.
That it isn't possible.
Broken wristwatch.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office, there's a
Oh,
chance
I
he
have
was
a
actually still
literal
alive?
sliver.
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And
Uh-huh.
you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest of us. Hifumi's dead body had been found. And that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really so sure about that? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office,
I gotta
there's
get
a
this
chance he
right.
was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest of us. Hifumi's dead body had been found. And that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really so sure about that? Maybe the announcement was intended to
Nope,
signal someone else's discovery.
Okay. Okay. I forgot to do X. I forgot to do X.
Are
I'm
you saying
positive
that
I
when
know
we
what to
first
shoot,
found
though.
Hifumi in the there's a chance he...
No. Hifumi was dead.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery and Hifumi's dead body had been found. And that is why...
Are we really so sure about that? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
What?
shoot!
Well, I failed. Was that not sus? I thought it was pretty sus. Clearly it wasn't sus enough, though.
Is this really the end for all of us? I refuse to give up yet!
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No,
Maybe?
it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest of us. Hifumi's dead body had been found. And that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really so sure about that? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
No, it's just Monokuma saying, "A body has been discovered." It doesn't mean that it's Hifumi, because they found both of them at basically the exact same time. So what I'm thinking is the dead body report was definitely for Taka. Like, without a doubt, it was for Taka. Like, okay, so, like, I grabbed the statement where it's like, yeah, we found Hifumi alive, and then I tried to shoot it out like, oh, we found someone else, and, like, that was wrong. And I was like, oh, well, that's probably it, because, like, you know, that seems like it would be it, but it wasn't.
Are you saying
So now I'm
when
gonna
you
try
first
to use the
found
someone
Hifumi
else's
in the
discovery
nurse's
at the point where
office,
he was found
there's
dead?
a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery
Yeah, like
announcement,
this.
along with the rest of us. Hifumi's
Dead body had been found.
There we go.
No, that's wrong. Was the body discovery announcement that was made really intended for Hifumi?
Of course it was. The announcement played right after we discovered his body.
Maybe. But that was also the same time that Taka's body was found.
That's right. It wasn't long after finding his body that we heard the announcement.
So there's a good chance we made a mistake in there somewhere. I think we've confused whether the announcement was for Hifumi or Taka.
First of all, if two bodies had been found, there really should have been two announcements.
Maybe Monokuma simply got lazy and rolled them together into one.
What do you say, Monokuma? Any comment?
Well, it's a very sensitive issue, so I can't go into too much detail. But what I can say about the body discovery announcement is that it's only broadcast when 3 or more people find a dead body for the first time.
That didn't answer our question, man. We're asking if you're a lazy bum.
No, actually, that was plenty.
It was. Because that means that first announcement was for Taka, and then we got a second one whenever we found them in the repository. And that was when Hifumi was actually dead.
He said it's only broadcast when a body is discovered for the first time. Which means, even if we find the same body again later, he won't make the announcement again. If that's true, then why was the announcement made again later on?
Huh? Later on?
Exactly. We heard the body discovery announcement twice. I got it! We heard it a second time in the repository, when we rediscovered the two bodies.
A body has been discovered! A certain amount of time. After a certain amount of time, which you may use however you like, the class trial will begin.
It didn't seem weird at the time, but it contradicts what Monokuma just told us, doesn't it?
Exactly. If we were actually rediscovering both bodies, the announcement shouldn't have played.
And in reality, when the two dead bodies were rediscovered, one of them was actually being discovered for the first time.
So, when we found Hifumi the first time in the nurse's office, he wasn't actually dead yet. Meaning, he wasn't actually found dead until we came upon him in the repository.
And that's just part of it. There's one other thing that leads me to believe he was still alive in the nurse's office.
The glasses.
I know! Because he was super good at playing dead! Bada bing, bada boo!
That is the worst logic I have ever heard. But honestly, I do not think
I don't
there's
know who
anything
it
that
would
can
be.
prove
Like,
he
I
was
have
still
slight
alive.
suspect on Celeste, but I don't want it to be Celeste.
Okay then, let's take another look at the events surrounding the discovery of his body.
Yeah, okay, like... No, yeah, like, Dan's here, like, I have that sus, and, like, y'all weren't here, like, no one was watching, but, like, whenever we first found her after she was supposedly attacked, she was like, yeah, like, after I got attacked, I went unconscious, and then immediately after, she was like, yeah, right after I attacked, I managed to get a picture of the culprit dragging away Hifumi. You were supposed to be unconscious. Maybe I'm like heard the wording wrong or said the wording wrong, but that's kind of sus, dude. Okay, then let's take another look at the events surrounding the discovery of his body.
Clear whether he was really alive or not.
This whole thing is pointless.
Why is it pointless, Celeste? Huh? Huh? It's his glasses. Yeah, like, he cleaned his glasses. And the only one who has that, like, anime, like, a handkerchief would be
here's
Hifumi.
One thing we do know. The first time we found Hifumi's body was in the nurse's office. And then, while me and Celeste were in the bathroom, his body disappeared.
And the next time we saw his body, it was in the repository.
But when you compare his body before being moved and his body after being moved, other than the change in how it was positioned...
What?
Shoot!
That is a contradiction! That is a contradiction if I've ever seen one!
Well, here's one thing we do know. The first time we found Hifumi's body was in the nurse's office.
That is a contradiction if I've ever seen one. The body being like sus, or like a different position.
And the next time we saw his body, it was in the repository.
But when you compare his body before being moved and his body after being moved, other than the change in how it was positioned, there was no notable difference.
I sussed it at the sus!
Then, was he really...
Of course not.
Okay.
It is impossible.
Second row, fourth one in, stop speeding at 3.
And then, his body
And the next time, it was in...
But when you compare his body before being...
Other than the change in how it was positioned, there was no notable difference.
No, that's wrong.
Yeah, suck my dick.
In fact, there was one clear difference between Hifumi in the nurse's office and the repository.
Take that!
His glasses.
Objection!
That fact alone proves that he was only playing dead in the beginning.
Perhaps you'd like to fill the rest of us in?
When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, his glasses were covered with blood. But when we found him again later in the repository, they were spotless. And I found the item he used to wipe them clean in the nurse's office trash can. I got it! It was a glasses cleaning cloth featuring a certain cartoon mascot. One look at the bloodstain on the cloth should make things clear. This piece of cloth was used to wipe Hifumi's glasses clean. And the mascot on the cloth is the same one that's on the digital camera, right? And whose digital camera was it? Hifumi's, of course.
The character was... Princess Piggles. From Demon Angel Pretty Pudgy Princess, I think.
I highly doubt anyone but Hifumi would have brought something like this to school.
I see your point. And the only people here who wear glasses are...
Yeah, there is an imposter among us, Chant. I don't even know what he's saying.
I wouldn't be caught dead using a tacky piece of garbage like that.
Sure, champ.
A few tissues is all I need to keep my glasses clean.
Then there's no question. It belonged to Hifumi.
So what you're saying is...
What I'm saying is, the blood on his glasses was wiped away using his own glasses cleaning cloth.
Even if that is true, it does not mean he wiped the blood off himself.
Who else would do it,
But who
though?
would benefit from a clean pair of glasses other than the glasses owner?
That's a good point.
Then it must have been him, right?
So let's assume that Hifumi was still alive in the nurse's office. He pretends to be dead. Then when he's alone, he wipes his glasses clean so he can see. Then he stands up and walks out on his own 2 feet. And with that, the impossible task of moving his copious corpse becomes possible, wouldn't you say?
But then, if he was just pretending to be dead, what was with all that blood? Was it
There's blood in the cooler to his right. Blood in the cooler to his right.
The fridge in the nurse's office contains packs of
Uh-huh.
blood for emergencies.
Kyoko's saying.
He probably used one of those.
He figured if he was gonna play dead, he should go all out, so he just dumped it everywhere! But he got crazy with it and had to wipe his glasses off when he was done! God, what an idiot!
And if Hifumi was still alive at that point, the disappearance of Taka's body is easily explained. It should be perfectly obvious who must have moved Taka's corpse.
I don't know.
I got it! It could only have been Hifumi.
His office.
So me and Sakura headed for the repository. But when we got there, the door was locked.
And the repository door can only be locked from the inside. Which means, when Hina and Sakura got to the repository, someone was already inside.
And it could only have been Hifumi, who just finished stashing Taka's body there.
He convinced us all he was dead, and when he saw his chance, he dragged Taka's body to the repository. So, Hifumi wasn't just another victim in this case. He was one of the assailants.
But that means
I
he
don't
took
know.
part in the murders.
I don't think Hifumi killed Taka, though. I'm pretty sure the person that killed Hifumi killed Taka on top. No, but like, here's the thing. Taka was killed way in the morning, though. Taka was killed way in the I don't think Hifumi killed Taka in the morning. I don't. Hifumi's too much of a pussy for that. Hifumi's too much of a pussy for that. He was getting paid in panty shots. How much you want to bet he was being paid in panty shots? Hold on. Is the gameplay still being broadcasted? Okay, because like I just got the
Would
message.
you like me to show you one more piece of evidence?
There's more?
Oh, absolutely. The single biggest fact pointing to his involvement has yet to be revealed. You know what I'm talking about, right, Makoto? The item he took off of Taka's lifeless body?
Yeah, the paper.
I got it! You're talking about the note Hifumi had hidden away, aren't you?
Hidden note?
That's right. We found it stuffed in his pants.
Yeah.
In his pants?
Yes.
Yeah.
His pants.
Okay, well, forget about the pants for now. Take a look at what the note says.
I found a hole maybe we can use to escape. Monokuma can't find out, so don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet in the equipment room at 6 a.m.
That's the note I was telling you about. The one that told me where to go. Huh? Wait, this one's a little different. In my note it said, Monokuma can't find out, so don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet in the rec room at 1 a.m.
I see. Then this note isn't the same one Hiro got.
It's not the same?
In other words, the killer got in touch with another person besides Hiro. And that person could only have been... I got it! That's right!
Fumi's pants.
The killer used this note to draw out Taka and murder him.
Hello? Over here! Objection! Objection! I don't really understand what's going on, but Hifumi had that letter, right? So whoever wrote it wasn't drawing out TikTok, they were drawing out Huffy!
Just to be clear, TikTok is Taka and Huffy is Hifumi, right?
I was just trying to understand what like Trish is saying whenever we're like, yeah, it's sus among us, not sus among sus.
Ugh, yes! Why must you ruin it every time?
Man, Genocide Jack is seriously scary, but still, I can't let her get to me. Broken wristwatch, Hifumi's glasses, cleaning cloth.
Huffy had the note, right? Then the person it was intended for must have been Huffy!
But remember what the note said. What time did it say to meet?
6 a.m., I believe.
The time doesn't matter! The note has nothing to do with TikTok!
No, that's wrong. No, there absolutely is a connection.
No, there absolutely is a connection.
What the hell are you talking about?
The note said to meet at 6 a.m., which is the same time Taka was murdered. We've already proven that using his wristwatch. But there's more. Look where the note says to meet. The equipment room, right?
Which is where Taka was killed. I see.
So, Taka was murdered at both the time and place written in the note. I think that should be plenty to show that this note was definitely meant for Taka.
Well, when you put it like that... No further objections!
Then someone used that note to trick Taka. Just the same as me. The culprit really is a cold-blooded monster. Telling people they'd found a way out.
But if they gave the note to Taka, what was Hifumi doing with it?
Stuffed down his pants, no less!
Most likely, Hifumi stole it off Taka's corpse after he died.
Huh? He stole it?
Where's your proof? Go ahead, show us.
I got it!
Scrap of paper.
When I searched Taka's body, I saw that his lifeless hand was gripping a small scrap of paper. If I'm right about this, the sheet of paper this piece came from is... I knew it! It fits perfectly with the note we found hidden on Hifumi.
Then Taka's scrap and Hifumi's note.
Yup, they're from the same piece of paper.
Hifumi had the note meant for Taka, while Taka's corpse still grasped a small piece of that note. There's only one way to explain it.
Taka died clutching the note. Hifumi tried to free the note from his death grip, leaving behind only one small scrap. Did I get all that right?
That means Hifumi knew the note was important.
Exactly. Which proves that he was an accomplice in the murder.
Whoa. Yeah. After seeing all this, Hifumi was super involved in this whole thing for sure.
He was being paid in panty shots.
In fact, he was behind the whole thing. In fact, he's still alive.
No, he's not.
Sorry, no. When we found him in the repository, Hifumi was truly and completely dead.
There can't be. Monokuma has said that like there can only be
The
one
second body
blackened.
discovery announcement proves that.
So then, who killed
They have to
Hifumi?
fight to the death.
Whoever did is the mastermind, the true killer.
I don't know, but like Monokuma has said that like there can't be two Blackens.
He was killed in the repository. So he must have been killed not long after transporting Taka's body.
Yeah.
So, he must have been killed
Don't know.
after Taka's body vanished, but before we found both bodies in the repository.
During that time, we'd all split up and were searching for Taka's missing body.
Yeah.
In other words, during that time, none of us have alibis.
Wait, but me and Sakura were together.
Stop trying to steal the spotlight, you stupid walrus!
Who are you calling a walrus?
Yeah.
Anyway, when they were killed bothers me too. But there's something that's been bothering me even more.
And what might that be?
The weapon they used to kill Hifumi.
The weapon?
Hold on. Alright, my apologies.
Yeah, because I mean, according to the Monokuma file, the way Taka and Hifumi were killed was almost the same, with them having similar fractures and all. But Justice Hammer 3 and 4 were still laying around in the nurse's office and equipment room, right? So if Hifumi was killed in the repository, the culprit would have had to grab one of the hammers, kill Hifumi, then put the hammer back where they found it. But wouldn't that be
There's
seriously
a
risky
hammer
for
that
them?
was cleaned that we have as evidence.
I'm surprised. It seems there's some semblance of a brain knocking around that skull of yours after all.
Jeez,
Hell
Baka
yeah,
Baka.
It's packed in there good and tight.
He's right, though. I don't understand it either. The Monokuma file makes it clear that they were killed using similar instruments. But if the hammers were already laying around those other rooms...
So the question is, how could the culprit have gotten their hands on either of the hammers? Personally, I haven't a clue.
So which hammer was used to attack Celeste? Number 1 or number 2?
Those were accounted for in other rooms too. And I don't think either one is big enough to kill someone.
Then,
Is it not possible they used a different weapon?
I don't think it is possible. They were both killed with the same kind of thing, right?
So then, what was used to kill Hifumi? What was used to kill Hifumi? Was it Justice Hammer 3? Maybe Justice Hammer 4?
Well, whatever it was, there's one thing we have to figure out. How was the culprit able to move around so freely with the weapon? How did nobody witness them carrying it?
Sounds like a Justice Hammer 5 is about to make its appearance!
No, okay.
Shoot!
I went for like a jump of the
What
gun
was
there.
used to kill? Was it maybe Justice?
well, there's one. How was the culprit? How did nobody...
Sounds like a Justice Hammer 5 is about to make it! Check out murdergear.com/hammertime for more info!
Well, one thing seems pretty clear. The murder weapon had to be one of the Justice.
No, that's wrong. The murder weapon wasn't a justice hammer at all. No, it was something completely different.
But, seriously? A different weapon?
Take that!
Specifically, a hammer from the repository. The killer could have easily used that to kill Hifumi.
There is. I'm pretty sure there's one on Danganronpa. I thought there was at least.
All the hammers in the repository were covered in flecks of grit and debris. But for some reason, one of them had been scrubbed clean.
Huh?
And the reason it had been scrubbed clean was most likely because it was used to commit murder. If the hammer got covered in Hifumi's blood, of course they'd have to clean it off. I'd also like to point out that the repository has all kinds of hammers. Big ones, small ones, and even some flat mallet-like ones. I think whoever made the Justice Hammers used those as a basis for their design.
If that's true, that would explain the Monokuma file's note about the wounds being similar.
So Hifumi moved Taka's body to the repository, where someone then used a hammer to kill him.
And whoever did that is the true killer. The one Hifumi was working with. And the one who betrayed him.
Hold on a moment. I still think it's strange to assume someone was working together with him. The way the graduation rule works, there is no benefit to helping someone else carry out a murder. So the idea that anyone would work together like that is simply ludicrous. We talked about this, did we not?
Make your argument!
Based on the rules that have been laid out for us, even if more than one person is complicit in the murder, only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and survive. Assuming the rule holds true, it is simply impossible that two people work together on this.
That is how the rule was explained to us.
But that only really applies if there's one murder, right? In this case, however, there were two murders.
Based on the rules that have been laid out for us,
Even if more than one, only the one who actually, assuming the rule holds true.
That is.
But that only really applies if there's one murder. In this case, however, there were two murders.
No? Okay.
Shoot!
based on the rules that have been laid out for us,
Yeah.
even if more than one person is complicit in the murder, only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and survive. Assuming the rule holds true, it is simply impossible that two people work together on this.
That is how the rule was explained to us.
But that only really applies if there's one murder, right? In this case, however, there were two murders.
Based on the rules that have been laid out, even if more than one, only the one who actually carried out the act, assuming the rule holds true.
No, that's wrong. Since there were two murders, it's at least plausible that more than one person was involved.
What do you mean?
If there'd only been one murder, then yes, the idea of an accomplice isn't really worth considering. Naturally, if only one person can be saved per murder, an accomplice has no risk versus reward benefit.
Risk versus reward.
The payoff for working together. The reward that balances out the risk of taking part in a scheme. There's no point in being someone's accomplice if there's no benefit to you. However, if there were some potential mutual reward for the risk, then cooperation becomes possible.
You're saying that two people could act as each other's accomplices to commit two separate murders.
I think that's what the true killer told Hifumi. They would each have an accomplice for their crime. And based on the case's events, Hifumi would have been the first one to act, murdering Taka. They made him carry out the first murder so he couldn't back out of helping them later on.
So in this case, there wasn't one single person committing multiple murders. Instead, each person killed someone, creating two separate incidents. And it only looked like one person because that's how the true killer designed it to look. A single suspicious individual, a similar weapon used in each crime, disappearing bodies. By creating one seamless set of circumstances, they made it look like one person was behind it all.
The mastermind picked their target and managed to convince him to go along with their plan. And then, to avoid the no accomplices rule, they simply killed their accomplice. Which, if true, means that betraying Hifumi was part of the plan from the very beginning.
That's just awful. How could anyone be so cruel?
You think so? I can't help but admire its cunning. Still, their choice of accomplice seems odd.
Made an effort to convince us that two murders were the same. That was the main characteristic this time. Kyoko must have noticed the fact from the very beginning, which is why she said not to look at this as a series of connected events but entirely separate incidents. Kyoko really is amazing, although, when you think about it like that, she's almost too amazing. It's almost natural of how good she is at this.
I understand how an accomplice could be involved, but then who was the one pulling Hifumi's strings?
That's problem numero uno right now.
A true killer manipulated Hifumi to carry out a number of actions and in the end murdered him. In debates up till now, the way this case has unfolded, when you consider all that, there's really only one person who seems to fit. So, anyway, it's actually Hifumi again. Yes! How did you know? It could. I'm gonna do Celeste though, because I have grave sus on her. Like she's my most sus right now.
Individual now, am I?
It's actually.
I really do hate this kind of joke.
A joke? I wonder.
So what you are saying then is that I specifically chose to work together with Hifumi. The idea that I would choose to spend any amount of time interacting with him, that I would go within 10 feet of that shit from brains, that lazy, worthless, goddamn idiot!
Her accent!
Pardonnez-moi.
Her accent!
Just to be clear, there is evidence to support it.
Is that so?
It is. Throughout the investigation, there was certain behavior that was common only to the two of you.
No!
Considering what we've learned so far, it only further proves that the two of you were working together.
I like her Draculaura accent though.
I got it! The behavior they had in common has to do with the suspicious.
Yeah, like they were the
individual in
only
suit,
ones to see the
doesn't it?
suspicious guy.
The only ones who ever actually saw Robo Justice firsthand were Celeste and Hifumi.
Shush, the adults are talking now.
Fuck you.
Sorry.
As he said, only Celeste and Hifumi ever laid eyes on a costumed individual.
I'm not your child,
If we accept
Baka
that
Baka.
Hifumi was one of the culprits, we can't help but suspect what Celeste has said as well.
Are you saying everything they told us was a lie?
After taking Hifumi to the nurse's office, we all began our search for this individual, correct? And not too long after that, do you remember what Celeste said?
I saw a shadow, something moving around the top of the stairs.
We headed to the second floor specifically because of what she claimed to have seen. Next, to draw us all to the physics lab up on the third floor,
She let out a blood-curdling scream.
and when we'd all come to see what was wrong, what was it she said?
Celeste, what's wrong? That was a rather intense scream for someone like you. I saw him, the strange costumed man. He ran off as soon as I screamed. He was blocking the stairs, and so he headed further down into the hallway and disappeared.
Once she'd done her job of getting us all up to the physics lab, it was time for her partner to get to work.
What was that? That came from downstairs, it must have been... Hifumi, he's in the nurse's office. This is bad, come on, we have to go back.
It was to get us to divide into two groups. So that we would discover both bodies at the same time?
In fact, Celeste was precisely the one who proposed that we split up.
Then why don't we split up into two groups? I'll lead the hunting party. That seems much more interesting. Very well. Then Makoto and Hino will come with me to the nurse's office. I will leave the capture of the suspicious individual to Toko, Baka Baka, and Sakura.
Well, if Celeste and Hifumi were working together, all those chance events suddenly become connected. And on top of that, that piercing cry of yours early on. That was to signal Hifumi, wasn't it? It was your way of telling him, we're on the 3rd floor, everything's going according to plan. Why else would you let out a scream that could have carried across the sea?
I just realized another strange thing. When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, who we now know was only pretending to be dead.
I certainly was not expecting this. I did not imagine that Hifumi would be murdered.
Celeste, you were the first one to say he'd been murdered. You wanted to make sure we wouldn't have any doubt in our minds.
I don't believe it. Everything.
Yeah.
The whole thing was one big act.
Hina, you were with Celeste when Hifumi's body disappeared,
I like
right?
Celeste though.
Yeah. I was feeling kind of sick, so Celeste took me to the bathroom. Wait! Then that was...
She wasn't worried about you. She just saw a chance to help Hifumi sneak out of the nurse's office.
Each piece isn't much by itself, but start putting them together and the picture gets very ugly indeed. Wouldn't you agree, Celeste?
I have no idea what you mean.
Don't bother trying to deny it. You made one fatal mistake.
Oh, did I?
I didn't even catch it myself when you first said it, but looking back, I can say that that one little slip-up was your undoing.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about what you said after Hifumi's body disappeared and we returned to the nurse's office.
They must really be enjoying this. Seeing the sight of us standing around frightened and confused. We're all going to die here. We're going to die just like those guys died.
I remember her saying that too, but I don't understand what's so strange about it.
Then pay attention. Sakura, Toko, and I were first to discover Taka's body in the equipment room. Then Makoto showed up and told us Hifumi had been killed. So Sakura and I left
She
with
hadn't
Makoto.
known that Taka had died yet.
Once we were in the hall, we ran into Celeste, and the 4 of us headed to the nurse's office. Now, the entire time we were together, none of us said anything about Taka being dead. Think about it. Celeste's comment doesn't make sense. It was completely out of place.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Although I don't really get what it means.
You hear that, Celeste? Everyone's having some trouble understanding. Could you repeat what you said? If you're really not the culprit, you shouldn't have any problem repeating it, right?
Baka Baka that said that Celeste's comment didn't make any sense. But what is he alluding to? What do you mean, what is he alluding to, Makoto?
All I said was... They must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. They must be positively elated. We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like those guys died.
Okay.
Shoot!
Okay, well that's clearly like what we have to highlight. If we can't shoot that down.
We are going to die, just like those guys died. And that is all I said.
And that's all it takes to finish this. It's obvious, isn't it? What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
What?
Shoot!
What do you...
All I said was... They must really be enjoying this.
Well, no, because like the strange thing that Baka Baka is alluding to in that is the fact that she's saying just like those guys died because she didn't know, she shouldn't have, if she was innocent, she shouldn't have known that Taka was dead because they never said Taka was dead yet. I don't understand what I'm supposed to shoot.
Standing around, frightened and confused. They must be positively elated.
Yeah, like us, as in like the group that she was with. Like I think that makes sense.
We are going to die, just like those guys died.
And that is all I said.
And that's all it takes to finish this. It's obvious, isn't it? What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
No. I don't know where to go with this.
All I said was...
Yes?
Really enjoying
I thought I did.
We are going to die.
And that is all...
And that's all it takes.
What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
Yeah, that's all there is to it. Yeah.
All I said was... They must really be enjoying.
Like the only thing sticking out about this is the fact that she's saying those guys. She should know about that. But I selected those guys. I highlighted it as like ghost bullet and I like shot it at this and it doesn't matter. That's wrong. Apparently.
All I said was they must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. They must be positively
Yeah, but it's not
elated.
considered the right answer.
We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like those guys died.
And that is all I said.
And that's all it takes to finish.
I feel stupid because there's only 9 boxes. Okay, I'm shooting it again because what happened was like my first response to something in Mondo's case. I forgot specifically what it was, but it was like the original bullet that I had, and I shot it originally at what it was made to do, and like it counted it as wrong. So I did it again after like literally dying the trial because I failed that much while trying to figure out what it was. Like I had like failed the trial twice and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna try it again. And it worked. So like I don't know.
Said was they must really be enjoying this. They must be positively elated.
We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like those guys died.
And that is all I said.
And that's all it takes to
I
finish.
don't know
it's
what the...
obvious, isn't it? What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
All I said was they must really be enjoying this.
Yeah,
Enjoying
it's what happened
the
with
sight
something
of
that
us
Kyoko said
standing
earlier. I just
around,
remembered it.
frightened and confused. They must be
Positively, we are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like
Those guys died.
No, that's wrong. That's right. There's no reason Celeste should have said, just like those guys died. When she said that, none of us had told her Taka was dead.
Exactly. And we didn't run into her until after we were all out in the hall. So there was never any chance for her to have seen his body in the equipment room for herself.
So how did you know, Celeste? How did you know more than one person had been killed? And how did you know they were both guys? Because Kyoko had also disappeared, right? So she could have been dead too.
You all have such vivid imaginations. You know that?
Imaginations?
You claim that I was lying when I told you about the suspicious person I saw. Then what about the picture I took?
Staged! Just like I thought originally, it's staged!
It has to be some kind of setup, right?
Exactly.
So let's put the suit on, and then she used the camera's timer to set up the picture.
No, don't get me wrong. Dan was in there, and Celeste took the shot, but it was taken way before she said it happened.
Into that suit.
Yeah, Dan was put under anesthetic or something.
Plus, I happen to know that this particular camera does not have a timer. In other words, it is an unassailable fact that this is a picture of Hifumi being dragged away. If everything I told you was a lie, how can this picture exist?
Simple. Are we sure that's really a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away?
What could you possibly mean by that?
Surely there are other explanations than the one you've offered up.
No, there is no other explanation.
Oh yeah, and if he were being dragged away, like, the robot's arms would be under Hifumi's. Hifumi's, like, basically carrying it, what it seems like.
I got it! It's not a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away. I would say it's a picture of Hifumi dragging the suspect
They're doing
away.
the salsa. They're doing the goopy dance!
That's certainly within the realm of possible. The one being dragged off in that picture isn't Hifumi, but the person in the robot suit. We've simply been led to believe that it's the other way around. And the strange costume might only exist to lead us astray. If you saw someone wearing something like that in this situation, of course you'd notice and be suspicious.
That's what happened! You put me to sleep and made me out to be the bad guy in all this!
Such a thing is utterly impossible. Hifumi was dragging him away? Ridiculous.
Is it? I don't think it's ridiculous at all.
Then shut your mouth and allow me to educate you.
You dressed me up in that suit after I passed out. Then you just draped me across Hifumi and had him carry my weight. You tried to make me look like the bad guy.
Like I said, ridiculous. As you can see in the picture, the suspect is standing perfectly upright. If the person inside the suit was unconscious, there's no way they could stand up straight like that.
Then the fortune-telling idiot is the culprit after all!
No way! You dressed me up in that suit after I passed out. Then you just draped me across Hifumi and had him carry my weight. You tried to make me look like the bad guy.
Like I said, ridiculous. As you can see in the picture, the suspect is standing perfectly upright. If the person inside the suit was unconscious, there's no way they could stand up straight like that.
What? Oh, I set it off the wrong timing.
You dressed me up in that suit after... Then you just draped me... You tried to make me look...
Like I said, as you can see in the picture, if the person in
There's no way they could stand up straight.
then the fortune-telling idiot is the culprit.
Ew? Maybe it's the wrong thing. I thought it would be the blueprints.
You dressed me up...
Yeah. Because we have Yashihira's message, the blueprint, and the costume itself. Oh, the costume itself.
in that suit after I passed out.
Then you just draped me. You tried to make me look...
Like I said, as you can see in the picture, if the person in
There's no way they could stand up.
No, that's wrong. No. Even if the person inside the suit were unconscious, they could still stand up like that. Because that Robo-Justice suit had a certain characteristic.
You totally can't bend at the waist. Seems like a pretty obvious oversight.
That's right! They totally made a mistake when they made it, so it couldn't bend at the waist.
I'm not so sure that was a mistake. I think the suit was designed from the beginning to be used the way it was.
Celeste and Hifumi took the suit they'd specially designed and stuffed Hiro into it. That's how they were able to fake that whole thing. The point of it all was to make us believe whoever was in the suit was to blame.
Well, she is the ultimate gambler.
Well then, I suppose this is checkmate.
Checkmate?
Don't make me laugh, you idiot! What do you mean, checkmate?
Celeste?
Clearly, you want to cram me into your little guilty box. Well, there's one little problem.
Have you already forgotten what Hifumi told us as he lay dying?
Hifumi, who was it who attacked you? Who tried to kill you? Who killed me? That's right. I remember their name. Yasuhiro.
When we asked him who had attacked him, his answer was quite clear. What he said, and I quote, Yasuhiro.
In other words, Yasuhiro Hagakure!
Wait, but my name isn't really Yasuhiro. It's actually Taro.
Your
Yeah, she
confusing
was.
statements don't make any sense. You're only making things more complicated.
He did say Yasuhiro, but are we sure he was really pointing the finger at Hiro?
What the hell are you talking about? I'll burn you alive!
Kyoko, what do you mean by that?
Think back to how Hifumi used to talk to us. How did he refer to each of us?
I got it! That's right! Our last names! He called us all by our last names!
Oh yeah.
Exactly. I know I heard him say Mr. Naegi more than once, for example. So if Hifumi did mean to say Hiro's name, he would have said his last name, Hagakure.
I'm sure it was just incidental. By chance, his first name. Indecent?
Don't talk.
Random chance. Now isn't that a convenient explanation? No, there's no reason to think he would have said the name any different than normal. But he must have run out of energy before he could say any more.
So Hifumi was trying to tell us the last name of whoever killed him?
But the name he said doesn't apply to anyone here.
Well, no. Hold on. There's one person it could have, and that's
Yeah.
Celeste. She never actually told us what her real name is.
What did you just say? To think you'd take your false accusation so far, I don't know whether to laugh or spit! Come on! Enough with your idiotic blather! Yasuhiro is a loser's name! Do I look like a loser to you? Well, do I? What? I think I've earned the right to be a little on edge.
Okay, then fill us in. What's your real name?
Fine. Make sure your ear holes are wide open and listen up! My real name is Celestia Ludenberg. Could you please stop making me repeat myself over and over again?
Celeste won't give up, so I have to do something to make her accept it. Time to pull out our e-handbook!
Hifumi was trying to tell us something. He wanted us to know the killer's last name, Yasuhiro.
If there's one person here who might have that last name,
It would have to be you, Celeste. You haven't told anyone what your real name is.
How many times do I have to tell you? My name is...
Celestia Ludenberg, god damn it!
How long do you plan to go on pretending?
I'm not
I
pretending.
love it when Master yells at people.
And since you have no way to contradict me,
No, that's wrong. That's it. The handbook.
what?
Anytime you turn your handbook on, it shows the owner's name when it boots up, right? Monokuma told us all about it before.
This handbook is absolutely vital to a healthy school life, so don't lose it. When you start it up, it will display your name. Always make sure that you have the right one. Now, this is not your everyday notebook. It has so many more uses than that.
So all we have to do is check her handbook, and that'll clear up everything. That's how we can find out Celeste's real name.
That's an invasion of privacy. I refuse to cooperate.
Celeste, can you please just tell us what really happened? Please, just tell us.
Even when I'm put in check, it's just my nature not to give up. Because until the game's over, you never know what might happen.
Fine then. Let me settle it. Let me go over the case again, from the beginning, and shed light on all your crimes. And that'll bring everything to an end.
Woot woot. What is this face? No? Oh yeah, it has some ones that are like throw you off ones. Okay, I actually don't know what would go there. Okay, we're gonna go this way, but so yeah. And then I don't know what. Oh yeah, okay. E. There you go. So stupid. Maybe this one? I'm like kinda sad that like this is how Hifumi died though. Wait. Wait. Where is it? This goes over here. So what goes over here? I assume they go over here. Back in Act 1. Was he Justice Hammer 3 or 4? Because Justice Hammer 1 was with her, Justice Hammer... No, it was Justice Hammer 4, because Justice Hammer 3 was with, Hifumi in the bathroom. Or not the bathroom, the Susibaka. Okay, am I missing any? I don't think I am.
The killer is you!
Alright.
Before anything, the killer persuaded someone to help carry out the murder. And
Okay, that wasn't Chips. That one isn't Chips. Well... Nobody believes me. Oh no.
is the...
Yeah.
I
Let's get
refuse to
another
give
shot.
up yet.
Oh, I have to replace everything. Okay. Oh, this is kind of sus. Kind of sus, but it makes sense. Oh, that one. Okay. Wait, which one did we put there again, huh? Oh, it's the time one. Time one. Time one. Camera. 6. Yeah, Death Hammer 4. Okay, Justice Hammer 2 happens in the Infirmasus. I don't know what would go there.
Here's exactly what happened. Before anything, the killer persuaded someone to help carry out the murder. And that person was... Hifumi. With an accomplice, the killer was able to execute a number of otherwise impossible schemes. First, they convinced someone to meet them in the rec room last night at 1 in the morning. That someone they met with was Hiro. The murderous duo intended to pass Hiro off as the prime suspect. So when they met up with him, they drugged him, knocked him out, and stuffed him into the Robo-Justice suit. Next, Hifumi positioned himself to make it look like Robo-Justice was
Oh my
attacking him,
god. You're
while the
right.
killer used a digital camera to take pictures of the assault. They did all this just to create evidence that would put the suspicion on Hiro. When they were done with him, they shoved him, still unconscious, into the pool room locker. And then finally, at 6 a.m., they moved into the murder phase of their plan.
Yeah,
They
he was
called
found in the
Taka
pool
to
room
the
locker.
equipment room. And that's where Hifumi killed him, making it the scene of the first murder. The murder weapon was Justice Hammer 4, which was left there in the equipment room. The reason Hammer number 4 was used was to create confusion about the order of the crimes. So, next they falsified 2 more assault incidents. For these attacks, the killers pretended to be the victims, to solidify Robo-Justice as the suspect. The first fake incident was the attack in the rec room. There, the killers wanted us to see Justice Hammer 1, and the Robo-Justice pictures they'd taken. They wanted to make sure we bought the surprise attack story. The second fake incident was the attack in the library. This time, they planted Justice Hammer 2, and an injured Hifumi. Just with these 2 incidents, the killers were able to create a certain preconception in our minds that the suspect was increasing the size of the hammers and attacking people in order as they did. We fell right into their trap and started looking for the suspect based on that. But
No, I didn't think it was the backpack.
here's exactly what happened. So, next they falsified 2 more assault incidents. For these attacks, the killers pretended to be the victims, to solidify Robo-Justice as the suspect. The first fake incident was the attack in the rec room. There, the killers wanted us to see Justice Hammer 1, and the Robo-Justice pictures they'd taken. They wanted to make sure we bought the second fake incident. This time, they planted with these 2 incidents that the suspect was in. We fell right into their trap. While we did that, we left Hifumi alone in the nurse's office. This was exactly what Hifumi was hoping for. He took a blood packet from the refrigerator and Justice Hammer 3 and turned the room into a crime scene in which he himself had apparently been brutally murdered. He let out a scream to draw us back, and when we returned, that's what we found. Meanwhile, the other group that had been out searching found Taka's body at the same time. So when we heard the body discovery announcement, we naturally assumed it was for Hifumi. We left the nurse's office, and Hifumi once again took advantage of the situation.
What did you even
He
say?
simply got up and made his escape.
What?
When we learned his body had disappeared, we all rushed back to the nurse's office.
Yes.
And once again, Hifumi had the chance he was waiting for. This time,
Yeah.
he snuck into the equipment room. He wrapped Taka's body in a tarp.
Why does he look
and
like a
used the dolly
dog?
to move it all the way down to the repository. That explains how each of the bodies disappeared. But even Hifumi didn't know what the true killer had in mind for their final act. Their plan all along was to kill Hifumi and get rid of the one person who could betray them. And they did it using an ordinary, everyday hammer from the repository. That should cover everything that happened in this case. And the villain behind it all is...
Yes.
Celeste! Sorry, you lose.
I lost? When was the last time I was forced to utter such words? They hang heavy around my neck.
Then you admit it? You're the killer?
Listen to you, trying to take charge, as if you're my private instructor.
I, Celestia Ludenberg.
Actually, no. Taiko Yasuhiro is fine.
Taiko?
So, you finally accepted it.
I'm the kind of person, once I've lost, I don't like things to drag on.
Interesting.
Yeah, let's go. I still got an A. I've never gotten an S on any of these. I'm proud of the A's.
Okay, Monokuma. I'm ready to begin. Or, no. I suppose this is the end, isn't it?
It is indeed the moment we've all been waiting for. Time to vote, okay? Okay. If you would, please locate your lever and cast your vote. And when the votes are tallied, who will become the blackened? Will you make the right choice or the dreadfully wrong one? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
Gonna go buy some epic stuff? What do you mean, what are you gonna do with the money? Oh, true. I mean, 10 mil's a lot.
What?
It's basically a formality at this point, but once again, you're totally correct. The blackened this time, the true killer who devised the whole stinking scheme was Celeste Ludenberg, or more precisely, Taiko Yashihiro.
Honestly.
Well, it lost. Well, that sucks. I guess trying to move to work with someone else was a mistake after all. Hifumi's ineptitude was beyond all of my calculations.
I knew it.
So you really did approach Hifumi with this plan. But how did you get him to agree? I can't even imagine he would have happily agreed to commit murder. Excuse me. I'm sure she relied on her specialty, lying. My specialty? Don't make me laugh. I didn't have to lie to get him to agree.
So then...
Then did you use, I knew it. You'd figure it out, Kyoko. You're absolutely right. To get Hifumi to act as my accomplice, I used her. For everyone who's still left, I avoid mentioning it by name, but it was the one thing Hifumi and Taka were both super into. Does she mean... Is she talking about alter ego?
Say what?
What are you talking about? Don't interrupt. We're in the middle of a very important conversation here. I'm totally out of the loop as usual. How sad.
In other words...
Then you're the one who stole it.
Indeed.
That's right.
I see.
And you use it to drag Hifumi into the plan you'd come up with. Right again. Last night, after we had our meeting about how it disappeared, I had paid Hifumi a little visit. What are you doing here?
Actually,
I was hoping I could talk with you alone. It was about what was stolen. I know who did it.
What?
are you okay with this?
Is that a kissy cutie made outfit? It was Taka. He stole it.
So then,
And I have proof. Would you like to see it? As it turned out, I had found a use for the digital camera. I had taken you-know-what to Taka's room earlier and took pictures of it there. I deleted the pictures as soon as I'd shown it to Hifumi, of course.
Damnation!
So it was him! But how did he do it? She was supposed to yell if either of us got close to her. You are correct, which is why Taka forced me to steal it.
Say what?
as for me,
Please forgive me. He threatened me.
Oh,
He did?
as for me,
He came to my room last night unannounced, and then it's hard for me to even say. He abused me.
What?
He took pictures. He said if I did not do as he asked, he would show them to everyone. I had no choice.
damnation!
That's a crime! An absolute crime! I knew he'd gone a little crazy, but I never imagined he would go that far. It was amazing how completely he bought it. I can't express how enjoyable that was. I'm about to say something I've never said before in my life. I'm going to kill him. I'm going to fucking kill him.
most unfortunate.
Wait, please. If you go now, you will be playing right into his hands. Huh?
Actually,
Taka is planning to use her to escape. He has made you his target. Escape? You don't mean... Taka is going to try to kill you.
indeed.
And so he can keep her to himself. That bastard! Bastard!
Honestly,
Can we allow him to continue with these barbaric acts? Absolutely not! How could I? I have to save her!
actually,
Then, would you like to join with me? It just so happens I have come up with a plan. Huh? I have devised a way to reclaim what he has stolen and escape this dreadful school. And with that, it was complete. Huh? What were you talking about? Oh, nothing. Hifumi agreed without a second thought. The effect that the item had on him was remarkable. The power of love, even a love as twisted as that, can still drive people mad, it would seem. You disgust me.
I see.
I have another question for you. Was that strange costume Hifumi's collection?
indeed.
Yes, it was a real pain in the butt, too. All I had asked him to do was make something to hide the face in general body size. I had no idea he'd make something like that. But it's my fault for picking him in the first place.
But...
So why did you decide to make me the suspect? Because you're stupid. That's it.
Let's see.
And in that regard, I made the right choice. I'm so glad your stupidity surpassed my every expectation. Life must be tough on your parents, though. I feel like I could cry.
Well,
But when you were explaining your plan to Hifumi, how did you explain the part about him playing dead? What she's asking is, what was Hifumi supposed to do after that, assuming you actually had let him
Are you
live?
okay with this?
That's simple. After he did his part and pretended to be dead when someone showed up, I told him to say he'd been seriously wounded. He was on the verge of death, but he had just barely held on. And he really believed that? Well, of course. That wasn't all there was to it, as I explained it to Hifumi, the plan was, while you were all questioning him about what had happened to him, I was going to murder someone else. At that point, Hifumi would have an alibi, so nobody could doubt him. I told him that, and he believed it. It seems very straightforward, stereotypical. I've just matched the lie to the level of opponent. In fact, Hifumi ate it up. He believed the lie wholeheartedly, right up until the moment of his death.
So in the end...
So you had planned to kill him all along. But of course. There would have been no point to my plan if the one who pretended to be dead did not end up dead himself.
What the heck?
How can human life mean so little to you? That's a non-issue. I simply did everything in my power to win.
Don't be mean.
Now you sound like Baka Baka.
I wonder about
No,
that.
he derives his pleasure from the thrill of the hunt. In that aspect, we are nothing alike.
Why?
Then what made you take things this far? Was it really just for money? Are you talking about the $10 million Monokuma offered us? Excuse me, that is a lot of money, it's true. But that's not all there is to it. From the moment our new lives began here, my only thought has been about escape. But all along you've been saying how we have to accept living here. Obviously that was a lie.
Hey!
I couldn't take it. I hated it from day one. More than anything, anyone else in here.
You little
I wanted to get out. Every day was fresh torture. Do you want to know why? Huh?
This is fine.
Because I had a dream. And accepting a life here would have meant nothing less than giving up on my dream forever.
Honestly.
And there was no way I could have ever done that. In the underground world of gambling, I risked my life to make a metaphorical killing.
As for me...
It was all for that dream. And what was that dream of
Isn't it
yours?
wonderful?
To live in a European castle. A castle? And gather handsome men from all over the world to serve as my butlers slash bodyguards. I was going to make them dress up like vampires and satisfy my every need. Once I obtained that, I would have created a perfectly aesthetic world of decadence.
This is fine.
Living the rest of my life with there was my only dream, my only goal. That's what life is about. Combined with my own winnings, Monokuma's $10 million would have made that dream a reality. I got right to
There
the
is nothing
edge,
to be
but
done.
unfortunately my dream had been scattered to the wind. Still, I don't have any regrets. I pursued my dream to the very end, so why wouldn't I?
Just the worst.
So why would I? You're just so passionate, but you were really able to kill your own friends for it? Are you asking me to feel guilty? That's a pointless endeavor. I think nothing of sacrificing others for my own needs. I feel nothing.
Do you understand?
That's all there is to me. That's what makes me complete. Isn't it terrifying how different our values are? There's simply no room for understanding.
What is this?
That's what we should be saying, and plus, how could you be so calm? Don't you realize you're about to die? Aren't you scared? My ability to lie is unrivaled, and I take pride in that. I'm not just other people. I can even fool my own emotions, the conscious to see the unconscious. And that's why you're not
Yes,
scared.
indeed.
That's right. I don't fear death. Kill me however you like. But you know, if I could be reincarnated, if I have no choice, then
Isn't it wonderful?
I think I would like to come back as Marie Antoinette.
Hey.
You just get executed again. Celeste smiled again. Smiled then, and when she did, it looked like a poor effort to force it. She claimed she could fool her own feelings, but that statement itself must have been her final lie. And that weak, fail smile is what betrayed her.
Kills! Chills! Kills!
All done? Okay, let's get rolling. The black and disturb the peace and must pay the
Now
price.
then, I prepared
No.
a
Okay.
very special punishment.
For her, the ultimate gambler.
Give it everything we've got.
It's punishment time.
I guess I'll let Kyoko hold on to this.
What?
This
Will
is
it really give you the hope you're looking for? I can't say I ever saw it that way. Which is why... Actually, it's not important. Well then, take care, everyone. Perhaps we'll meet again. In another life.
Alright. Yeah. I tried to pause it, cause like, okay, I'll just like wait for the stream to catch up. And then I'm so upset. No. I am so upset. I am so upset. Okay, no, I'm redoing the whole trial. I'll start the stream up again once I've done the whole trial again. I'll be back. I'll be back. I'll be back. No, I'm redoing the whole trial. I'm redoing the whole trial. I'm gonna redo the whole trial. I'll be back in like an hour. I'm so upset. If anyone's execution I've wanted to watch, I wanted to watch Celeste. Celeste is my favorite character. No, that's stupid. That's stupid. No. I'm so upset! I'm so upset right now. Like, I don't know, and I don't, like, wanna sus. I'm so fucking upset. I'm so fucking upset. I don't care. I don't care. I'm getting off Danganronpa. I'm fucking upset.